Hello, my name's Suzanne, and I've been posting videos about my life for many years. It's been such an ordeal. I've never really told most of the story of what happened to me. I lost custody of my daughter in a fraudulent way. I traveled around the country because I was afraid for my life. I had almost been killed. My daughter was taken away from me by fraud on the court by an unethical attorney, and I want to unburden myself. I've gone through a lot of spiritual warfare that a lot of times is mistaken for mental illness when the demonic realm is controlling a person's body. Things like that happened to me that I do want to describe. I never brought out and told. A few people did know something about that because I was in another group studying advanced electromagnetic weapons, and that's what we thought it was. I didn't know how to explain it. I am a mental health clinician and therapist by trade, but I no longer believe in that field. I have reasons, that is a field that was founded by non-believers. And since I've become a believer in the past 5 years or so, I see how that really doesn't fit what can be happening to people. It can be people are being sort of invaded and taken over by spiritual warfare. And a lot of people that are not Bible believers do not believe that, and they just write it off. So our biomedical community, psychiatry in particular, doesn't recognize the demonic in the way they diagnose people. And now that I'm a Bible believer and I do believe in entities, I can't go back and practice in a field that I no longer believe in, and I don't feel that it fully explains what may be happening to a lot of people, because I've experienced some of it, and it was terrifying, and it was really horrible. One example, just off the top of my head, when I was walking along at night, and something just took control of my body and threw me down on the grass and started rolling me across the lawn against my will. And this was in the middle of the night. I don't think anybody saw this happening, but then it rolled me the other way. Now, this was not anything I could do, and it just rolled me back and forth across the lawn multiple times like that. I couldn't stop it. This was something inhabiting me, taking over my body and my mind. I couldn't function. Needless to say, I have a lot of experiences like that that are very horrifying and frightening. And this all took place after I left my home when I was battered and went through this whole horrible court system trying to gain custody of my daughter to save her from the batterer. Anyway, it's overwhelming with the amount of information that I've never let out. I've always kept it deep inside and just went along acting as if nothing ever happened to me. And I'm sure, when I sort of disappeared, people didn't know what happened to me. They didn't know I was battered and almost unalived by the father of my daughter. He literally almost choked me to the end of my life. And I thought I was a goner. I know I have to watch my language. Anyway, so there's a lot of this. I'm going to try to get organized and bring parts out and focus a little bit on different segments that I plan on doing. I think it's very therapeutic for me. I think a lot of this has kept me from being the full person that I am, that I'm supposed to be. I was taken over by so many problems and issues and layers and spiritual warfare that I couldn't get out of. And then I've buried it and pushed it down and never talked about it, partly out of shame and embarrassment and not really having the words to describe things that had happened to me. And what has happened to me has been, it's so unbelievable, including what happened at the courthouse when I lost custody of my daughter. Actually, I signed a document in a conference room at the courthouse in Solano County, California. And the opposing attorney was there, as well as the father. They wanted to meet with me. They wanted me to sign a document agreeing that the father would transport the daughter back and forth from visits. And I thought, well, that's very nice. So I'll go ahead and sign that. And then the attorney took the form, took a few steps forward, turned his back toward me, and he was scribbling the top of this form. And he stood there for several minutes, scribbling the top with a pencil or something. And I didn't know what the heck he was doing. And I didn't find out until a long time later. It may have been years later. I figured out that form was a pre-printed form that back in those days, there were duplicate copies, like carbon copies. There was a pink copy and there was a white copy and there was a yellow copy, one of those things. And along the top of that form, it was pre-printed who would get custody, father, mother, and you choose one. You either circle it or draw a line through one. One of them would get, physical custody. Father, mother will get sole, custody, or choices like that. And this attorney was standing there marking out this pre-printed part on top, saying that the father has sole custody, father has physical custody, father has legal custody, whatever the choices were. And I had signed the bottom of it. So it looked like I signed away custody of my daughter. And of course, that was never true. I was trying to save her from his violence, from his aggression, from his, tyrannical anger and angry outbursts. So it was a long time figuring that out. But anyway, that's how custody of my daughter was changed. All of a sudden, I thought, what the heck is happening? He has my daughter, and here I was going to court for custody of my daughter. And so, they just frauded the court and frauded the document. And that's how she was gotten away from me. So really terrible. I don't think she knows the truth. I don't think she's ever heard the truth of what happened to me being her mother, because I haven't seen her since she was 4 years old. She's an adult now, in her 30s. And I don't know what happened to her, but I was afraid for her life. I was afraid for my life. And it's hard for me to talk right now. I do apologize, but I wish I could say this better. It's kind of coming out publicly, and it's kind of, like, is this okay? And it's like being a rusty wheel. Like I'm really saying this, and it feels very hard to come out, hard to find the words, and it's been buried for such a long time. I have not gone into so much detail like I am right now, and like I've been in public ever. Never. I've never said this, but I've experienced all this. It's been very traumatizing. Really, I had little to no support. And there's just so much that floods my mind. It's like, where do I go next? There's so much to tell. So I have a long story I plan on doing more videos of, because I want to finally get it out. I want to live fully, not burying things. All these memories take up room and energy to keep shoved down in deep inside my being. And I don't want that. I want to be free. I want, to live my life in the present moment. I am a Christian. I want to, I believe God is helping me say these things. And I've tried to come out and talk about my story. I started writing a book. I had the cover of my book, finished. I paid someone to do artwork for me. And there's a lot of chapters in this, and I don't know what it's, smoky or something. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's kind of hard to breathe. But I'm here in my back office. I have the lights out. Something is definitely burning. Not my heater. Maybe something outside. Anyway, I'm going